How's it going, everyone? It's Johnny Beard here with a very special episode of the Streamer Stories podcast. I'm joined today by three of my favourite streamers. They all have one thing in common. They all love Resident Evil. Here they are. We've got Snooky Shogun, we've got Tiffany Locker, and we've got Tango Mushi. How are you all doing, guys?
Hello.
Oh, wow. This is going to be so much fun. I can't wait. I'm in streamer royalty here as far as I'm concerned. I love you all. You're all amazing. Let's do a quick introduction to each other. We'll keep it brief because we want to talk about Resident Evil. So Snooky, would you like to introduce yourself, mate?
You see, that was my alarm. Sorry.
That's my introduction. Hello, I'm Snooky Shogun, Welsh streamer. I play a lot of survival horror. I quite like Resident Evil. It's cool. And yeah, that's it really.
Awesome. Tango, would like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, what's up? I'm Tango Mushi. I'm also a horror streamer, primarily retro and indie horrors, and I'm a massive fan of Silent Hill and Resident Evil in particular.
Fantastic. And Tiffany, if you've not got a phone call, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. I'm Tiffany Locker. I'm also a huge Resident Evil fan. I'm a video editor, a community manager, and Capcom creator. Nice to meet you all. Hello.
I love that you're a Capcom creator. That's like dreams, man. That's so cool, isn't it? Awesome. Thank you all for being here. I love you all. Let's start from the beginning then. So, what are our first memories of Resident Evil, guys? I if you don't mind me starting off with Tiffany here, because again, I recall, because I've spoken to you all about Resident Evil, but Tiffany, you mentioned, I think, in our streamer stories that you were 2 years old.
Yeah, I was 2, and my dad was playing it because my dad was the person who got into the games. And I still remember to this day, he had to use the bathroom, and he passed me the controller. He was like, "Go to the next door." That's when the liquor was on the top, and you get the cutscene with Leon. And he just left me alone, and I didn't know how to play, so I was struggling. I was just walking. I didn't know how to run, and I was on danger. But I made it to the next room. And my dad was like, "Okay, you can play this game later." I was like, "What?" And I was so scared. I was limping throughout the whole game.
It's just unbelievable to me that I just can't believe that. It's insane.
2 years old. I played it at 9, and I was having nightmares for weeks. Literally.
My mom didn't know for maybe 5 years that we were playing horror games behind her back.
She didn't know about all the childhood trauma brought on by Resident Evil.
She would come home at 7 or 8, so we had a good 4 hours of free time, and we were also playing Mortal Kombat in the background. But my mom wouldn't know; she had no idea.
I love that story. It's so cool. 2 years old.
Yeah, I think Resident Evil 2 was mine as well. Actually, it was my first Resident Evil game, and all I remember is just the dread of starting that game and starting off in that street with a fire, with the zombies, those sounds, that music, and then the nightmares that followed afterwards. That was pretty much the series of events that unfolded there.
He was always really mean to us because the room with the zombie board, and you come back down after you get the unicorn emblem. He always blast it without us knowing, the TV. So when it would pop out, I would jump and scream. But he was a menace.
Oh man,
a menace.
Liquor bit. I actually remember eventually getting to the RPD, and then that liquor scene happened, and obviously the FMV happened, the liquor drop down, and then when it went back into in-game engine, the liquor did its charged up attack where it does that dive, and it literally demolished Leon. I think I switched off the console. I didn't touch it for about 6 months. I didn't touch the game for 6 months.
I got so lucky. That didn't happen to me. He just started clawing my feet the whole time, which is why I just kept limping away.
What about you, Tango? How old are you, Tango? I was 9 as well, like Snooky.
I'm a little baby. I just turned 24, so my memories as a kid playing Resident Evil are probably a little bit later. I think it's either Resident Evil 1 OG on the DS port specifically.
Oh wow!
Or Resident Evil 4.
Silence.
Yeah, exactly. Or Resident Evil 4. I played them very close to each other, so I'm not sure which is first. But I do have a very vivid memory when I was probably 9 or 10, I'd say. And I was playing Resident Evil 4, totally engrossed in it, love every minute of it. Leon is such a hun, you know yourself.
I
beat the game. You know, right? Exactly. And I beat the
Oh.
game, and then I found out, wait, there's more? I found out there's the Ada campaign. So I remember the next day, I played it up and pretended I was sick, and I rocked up to my mom, and I was like, I'm so sick. So I could stay home and, like, play the Ada campaign, and I just was glued to the PS2 for the whole day. Like, good vibes, good memories with Resident Evil 4.
Wow.
I think I was the only one who probably didn't want to carry on playing them after I first played it. I had to get over
Really?
the initial shock. I don't remember any of this, but I got told that I sleepwalked once about after playing Resident Evil 2, and I actually went into my parents' bedroom in the middle of the night, upset but fast asleep, saying that I couldn't save my game because I couldn't use the typewriter because the zombies had taken my arms. I have no recollection of this, but
God.
literally the game scarred me. That's how like impactful it was for me. It really, really did. And I remember a friend coming over, and I had to get my friend to play the game past the bit I got to. So I actually knew what to do after that. Like later on, then it wasn't like too much longer. I got off after I got used to the initial shock. But yeah, it had a big impact on me. Either that, or I was just a massive puss.
I can't believe I'm the only one here that's first experience was Resi 1, the actual Resi 1, not the Deadly Silence one. But yeah, I remember going into the mansion. I remember going to that hallway with the dogs, and like, oh my god, I was like scared shitless for that. And that was my experience with Resi 1. And then I played it at a friend's house, and then I got my own PS1, and then I got Resi 2, and then got scared all over again with the lickers and all that stuff. So yeah. Oh. But I can't believe you played Deadly Silence. I've never played Deadly Silence. Is it actually any good?
Silence is the best
Really good port.
version.
Really good port of it,
Really
to be
good.
honest. Yeah.
Swiping
I
it all
think-
like that with the knife.
Out of all the originals, other than like Ari Remake, I think Deadly Silence is the best version to play for the original game for 1996. Yeah, it's really good.
I might need to get it. I bet it's expensive now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So okay, I'm gonna start with Tiffany again on this because I think I know the answer. So what is your who are our favorite characters and why? I think we know Tiffany.
Hear me out. I'm on the same page. I'm on the same page with Tango because my dad made fun of me because I always say like Leon was my first love because he is.
Same.
He would make fun of me. It's like, oh come on. And I was just like, oh, I love Leon. Like I'm talking about like 1998 CGI. Then RE4 happened, and I was like more in love. But I got to play it first on GameCube, and oh my god, I used to get really sad when he died, including with the chainsaw dude. I was just like not even mad. I would just cry.
Oh no! I love how he was ginger in the original Resident Evil 2. He was a ginger. They changed his.
But
give
in
his
the
technical-
CGI, yeah. But in like his display picture, he had he was brunette. I love his little icon there. I thought he was handsome.
I want to know why there was a twin of Leon in the backseat of that police car.
Oh my god.
No, did anyone ever address that?
No.
I called him Noel for some reason. Just to rearrange it.
Noel.
Yeah, Noel. But I never understood. I just felt like maybe it was just a reused model asset, or maybe a funny little joke with the developers, possibly. Always wanted to know. But yeah,
Who's your favorite Snooki anyway? Are you a Leon guy?
I like Leon, but with Leon for me, I found his character is really jarring because I find him completely different in RE4 to what he was in RE2 original. It's like I guess they wanted to flesh out the character a bit and give him a bit more of a personality before. But I've always loved the tough ladies of the franchise. So Ada is by far my favorite character. I like the fact that she's badass, she's mysterious. She's kind of her own boss in a way. She doesn't, take any shit from anyone. Then I also love Jill, and I really like Rebecca as well. I think Rebecca is really underutilized. We need more Rebecca games. I've actually recently been reading through the S.D. Perry novels as well, and it was so nice reading an original novel with Rebecca Chambers in it with Caliban Cove. I don't know if any of you have read them, but it's just
need to read them. I only did like summaries of them.
They're so nice, and even if you if anyone doesn't have like time to read them or something, I think there's a few channels that have I think by Residents of Evil have the read throughs or the audio books of the books as well, so which is really nice.
Oh, audio, yeah, plus
Yeah.
How about you, Tiger? Who's your favorite character or characters?
Characters. I think for a similar reasoning, I love Claire. She'll always be.
Yeah.
She's in all my favorite ones, so that helps. But like, I just love how determined and hot-headed she is. You know, she was like kind of like as a little kid, I was just like, hell yeah, I want to be Claire Redfield. Hell yeah, she's awesome. You know, so like above and beyond, she's my favorite. But beyond that, I really like. There's a lot of really like underutilized characters, like you said, and I think Sheva Alomar is up there as well for me personally
yeah.
because she was a really like likable character with like a likable backstory in Resident Evil 5, and we're never going to see her again realistically, but I really wish we could. I remember playing that as a kid thinking it would be cool if she had her own, came back in some form, in any way, but the likelihood of that. But she's up there too for me, I think.
Yeah.
Does anyone here like Ashley? Or am I the only one?
Ashley. Time out. I kind of like Ashley.
I like Ashley. She gets a lot of hate, but I like her.
Let's be realistic. In this situation, I think she held herself fine.
Yeah. I agree. I think she gets a lot of hate, considering the situation she was in. And I don't know if you guys have seen this new Otomi Resident Evil 4. Otomi,
I just played it.
Just came out.
Yeah, me too.
If you don't like Ashley now, you'll probably like her after that. It's hilarious.
I absolutely love that game. The developers came to the stream and they were just like, they were looking at some of the bugs that was going on, but
it's so well written. Yeah. It's so witty.
No, check it out.
The whole thing with Ashley, I kind of had to tell people recently. I'm like, if Ashley dies, that's your fault, if anything, because Ashley's always behind you. Regardless, where you tell her to wait, where you tell her to do, that's on you. I don't understand. It's not like one of those escort missions where she's going on like right ahead of you for no reason. No, she's always right next to you. So if she dies, that's on you. That's all. And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, yes it is.
Yeah.
Got a good point. Yeah.
Her AI works perfectly fine. I never understood the complaints about her AI. If anything, she's one of the most like accommodating AI in a game, to be honest.
Oh, she's better than Sherry, that's for sure. Oh man, I've just been doing speedrunning before this chat, and Sherry just she 3 times she sat down for a poo. Stop it!
Yeah.
Get up!
The little squat.
What are you doing? Oh man, so yes, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. But yeah, going back to favorite characters, I love Leon and Ada. Like, so I feel like we've got a mixture of everyone here. But I love the romance between Leon and Ada. I don't know why. There's just something
I absolutely
about.
hate it.
You do hate it. I think I heard you.
I don't like it.
I think I was lurking on one of your streams and you were talking about how much you hated it.
I mean, from a like, hear me out. Hear me out. I like Leon, and I also do like Ada, but I do feel like during the whole RE6 and even CGI movies, Capcom doesn't know how to utilize Ada, and that's my problem.
Yeah,
they haven't really given her like the spotlight she deserves, and you can only be so mysterious for God knows how long. I feel like maybe first 2 games, yeah, but now it's like, what are you trying to do? I'm so confused. What is happening?
Hopefully, if we get that RE4 remake, that would be probably the best chance.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
To really do something with it, because I think they were onto something really good in Resident Evil 2 remake. I think that's probably my favorite incarnation of Ada yet. I absolutely adore RE2 remake Ada, and she was in it, in my opinion, for as long as she needed to be. She didn't overstay her welcome. At the same time, it didn't feel like she wasn't in it enough. But I think if they do, if this Resident Evil 4, we do get it, then I think there's a really good opportunity for her in that, especially if they go with the vibe that we had in RE2 remake.
Yeah. I agree with that, but that was just me with the whole let's do something, because now I'm just
yeah. 6 did ruin Ada. They did. They did the
6 ruined a lot of things.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Well, we might as well get to it now.
I do like RE6 to a point, funny enough.
That's what. Let's talk about it now. So what are our thoughts on Resident Evil 6? I mean, it's such a controversial title.
Best
you
game
like it?
ever.
I like it. I genuinely think it's a fun time. Yeah. But the only campaigns I don't like, which is funny because I love Leon with all my heart, I don't like Leon's campaign, and I don't like Ada's campaign. Those my two leads.
I like Chris's campaign. Most people sleep on it, but I really like his campaign. like, I'm not a big fan of Chris Redfield generally, but I actually really like Resident Evil 6 Chris. He's the rugged veteran who's, vulnerable and making mistakes and, is swallowing his sorrows and stuff like that. And, he's seeing his very young teammates die and he's not dealing with it well. I love that side of Chris. I actually think that's a good campaign.
I think the best one for me was Jake and Sherry, funny enough. It was just cool to see, like, both villains, like, offspring working together to save the world, not destroy it. And it was a nice little development they had too. I was like, I like this a lot. I dig this. It's a nice little story in general.
Yeah. What about Snooky and Tango? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I actually like Sherry's one the most in terms of campaign. I like now I'm blanking on the name of the monster, which is not helping me. But
I call him you stunk.
Usenek, is it? That's
Usenek. I used to say you stunk. That's
that guy. I liked that because I suppose it was a little bit reminiscent of Resident Evil 3, like Nemesis-esque kind of enemy coming after you. And personally, Nemesis terrifies me. The original Resident Evil 3, like I remember like dropping that game for ages in fear of Nemesis. So playing Resident Evil 6 Sherry's campaign kind of brought that back to me, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very varied campaign compared to the others, which sometimes leaned into shooting a bit too much, sometimes leaned into the spooks a bit too much. It was a nice in between to me. Yeah.
I'm going to be the least kind to RE6. I'm not a fan. I really actually dislike that game quite a bit. I enjoyed playing it co-op. I thought that was probably the highlight of it for me. In terms of campaigns, I probably have to go with Johnny on that. I prefer Chris's campaign, but playing as Pierce because of the ranged weapons. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I didn't really get invested in the story in it. I found that a lot of characters felt like it felt like each main character, so like Leon, Chris, Sherry, who familiars from previous games, were bundled with a new character trying to shoehorn them into the series, and I felt like Helena just was a really boring character. I didn't care much for Jake, to be honest. Pierce, it was okay. I think his end redeemed him a little bit. But I found the game quite clunky. It just doesn't do it for me, to be honest. Compared to Resident Evil 5, I think it's night and day between those two games. I just had more fun with the other games, to be honest. RE6 is not up there for me.
Yeah.
What's funny about that is that Claire was supposed to be Helena originally.
Yeah, I think I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, Claire was supposed to be Helena.
So good.
And Pierce is a recurring character because he was from the manga that came out right before that. So some people already knew who Pierce was around this time. And I was like, oh, the only one who was like brand new was technically Jake if Helena was going to be Claire. And I was like, oh shit. But no, I agree. But I do feel like RE5 also suffers the same problem with the AI. At least in RE6, the AI doesn't die. Compared to RE5 AI, I absolutely despise RE5 AI.
Yeah.
That kills me so much.
That's the thing. Is I probably haven't played RE5 solo in so long to really comment on that. Like the main times now I'll play RE5 is co-op.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the best way to play it, in my opinion. Now, it's just with a friend. It's just so much fun.
Oh, for sure. Like RE5 solo is terrible. I'm not gonna cap. It's. I was like, oh my god. Sheva just running into the chainsaw, or Chris, because Chris's AI is also just as bad. He will run into the chainsaw guy and die with it. I'm like, what are you doing? It's just better with a friend. Same thing with RE6. I feel like you have to play with a friend at that rate.
Yeah.
I've rarely played 5. I think I've played it once co-op, but I've not played 6 co-op. I've only played them solo. I don't have friends. No, but no, yeah, I've heard the same. Yeah, but yeah. Oh, the AI in 5 does do nothing at times, for sure. Do we all have a favorite non-main RE title, and what would it be?
When you say not non-main, like non-numbered,
non-numbered, and I don't think we can count Code Veronica in that either, can we?
I was going to say Code Veronica.
I'll say Code Veronica.
That's the easy one, isn't it?
I really like Code Veronica, even though it's like really hated for some reason.
If it's, I'll go first. But my favorite non is Umbrella Chronicles. I actually really like Umbrella Chronicles. I think it's an okay shooter, and the story holds okay. Like it's a reimagination of it's Resident 2 and 3, I believe, isn't it? It's been a while since I played it. But yeah, that's probably my favorite. I don't mind Dark Side Chronicles for the story, but the game is quite poor. But yeah, I used to play those on the Wii quite a bit back in the day. So
Would Outbreak count as a spin?
yeah, of course.
Yeah, Outbreak would be my answer then.
Oh.
No, for sure. In a heartbeat. I was just like, does it count? I mean, it's technically cat. I don't know. Yeah, Outbreak. Easily.
A lot of people want that remade, don't they?
Yeah, they need to.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For myself, it's a tough one to be honest because I mainly played the mainline ones. I played a tiny bit of Outbreak and a tiny bit of Revelations. I haven't played any of the Chronicles games or any of the side games. So it's a tough one to answer. I was going to say Code Veronica, but yeah, it's either going to be Outbreak, which I haven't played enough, or Revelations, which I wasn't that keen on when I played it. To be honest, I've heard the second one's a lot better.
Yeah.
I tried playing Revelations 1. I didn't get into it. I've slept on the second one because I didn't enjoy the first one. But I
think that's the same with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same, actually. It's like I played it and I enjoyed it for what it was, but now that I think back, I don't remember any of it. It was a bit of a forgettable experience, to be honest. Yeah.
I have complete beef with Revelations 2, to be honest. But not because of the game, because the game's actually good. But I really dislike, to this day, I still think about it, how it was weekly or every 2 weeks episode.
Oh, yes.
For Revelations.
What about that?
Yeah, that put a really sour taste in my mouth for like such a long time. I was like, why didn't you just release this as a full game? And it just kind of like took away the excitement because it's like I just really want to play this game at this point. Why do I have to wait? Why are you trying to do like a Walking Dead or the Life is Strange vibes? It's not that type of game.
I think that was kind of like all the rage at the time, wasn't it? They just kind of fell into the trend.
Yeah. But it would just make me not care more and more. So I had like the game was good, and that's what makes me upset about it. It's good, but having that experience put like a bad taste. I'm like, why did they do that? Oh my god.
Oh man, yeah, I remember that as well. So what are some of our favorite or scariest or biggest jump scares throughout the series? In the older games and the new ones.
For me, Mr. X bursting through the wall in OG RE2 and in RE2 Remake. He got me twice.
Yeah.
He got me as a child and an adult. So yeah, that's 100% for me. Both occasions in both games, many occasions in both games, but particularly like the first occasions, that was something else. Very, very well executed in the games.
100%. I'm the same. Like the first time, I crapped my pants when I was a kid, and I saw that happen. But like you said, in the remake for me, I didn't have it happen to me for ages. I think I did. I think it was like the 4th campaign. He didn't break through any of the walls. I thought, oh, they've took that out. I'm quite disappointed with that because I thought it was a great jump scare. And then he got me the 4th time. I was like, oh god. So I was just running through the corridor, nothing, absolutely fine by this point. Yeah, and he got me, the bastard. So.
While we're on Mr. X, what really freaked me out was the fact that when the remake came out, the first playthrough of RE2 Remake, expecting Mr. X to show up in B scenario or second scenario, and then he just shows up in the first. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah,
that threw me off.
For sure.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. Would you want to go first?
I was thinking myself. I know I mentioned it already, but like Nemesis, man, I genuinely I think that's probably the first time I've quit a game because I was just like, nah, this is too much. This is just too much. I think the difference is because personally for me anyway, when I was a kid, Mr. X is spooky enough as is. He just very defiant walk towards you. Nemesis, he's just running.
Yeah.
He's just on your ass, and it's that just freaked me out as a kid. I could not handle it, especially when he said when he says stars or whatever. It's just there's something very frightening about that to me as a kid. So I just it took me a long time to get back to 3 OG. So yeah, I think I'd go with Nemesis personally.
Do you guys remember when Resident Evil 3 Remake was coming out and there was a rumor coming out that he can go into save rooms? I wish they put that in. It would have been so terrifying, wouldn't it? If you can't save. Well, it's like in Resident Evil 2, if Mr. X comes towards the save point, it has that circle going, now you can't save now. I think that would have been amazing if that happened in the remake. Missed opportunity, I think, there.
Oh,
Very true. Many missed opportunities in that game, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I want to say one of the spookiest moments for me was RE Remake, actually. Like RE Remake, either the Crimson Heads or the first time Forrest like bursts through the door and he has bombs on his chest. And I just remember like freaking out. I'm like, oh, what the? Oh, hello? And he's like sprinting towards us, and then I actually shot him and I died. I was like, oh, okay.
When he shuffles, it's horrifying. It's really like spooky.
Yeah, and I remember like I have a bad habit and history of not saving RE games. I had to restart everything all over again. But I was like, oh, oh man, yeah, Crimson Heads, or I'll go give it to Forrest with the little chase thingy. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, the Crimson Heads.
I'm glad I'm not the only one with that, actually, about the saving thing, because I think growing up and playing Resident Evil, you get too paranoid to save sometimes because you know it's going to go against your end score, your rank. And I think that's just like bled into my whole gaming routine. Just don't save games and then die and cry about it later.
Oh, it wasn't even just that. Growing up, this is another thing I mentioned. So my dad was a speedrunner when I was growing up a lot. But the only reason he would speedrun the game is because we didn't have a memory card. So he would like to beat the game. So I think I adapted that mentality for a little bit. And then I also became a speedrunner and tried to like learn and all this stuff. But we didn't have a memory card because memory cards were purchased separately from PlayStation for some reason, which was weird. I don't understand why. But that gave me like the bad habit, so to say. But now I could beat the game like in an hour. Then it's not an issue. But it's like, man, it should save sometimes. It's not gonna kill me now.
Oh, you talk about the saving and the rankings and stuff like that. That's how I played. That's how I got into Resident Evil 4 for the first time. Played that because I didn't know anything about it, and then I kept saving and thinking, "Oh, this is going to go against my rank." So I started again, and then I'd go a bit further into the game. I was like, "Oh, I don't want to save, but I'm going to have to save." And that and then as soon as I beat the game, I was like, "What? There's no rankings system. This is bullshit." Oh, no. I used no first aid sprays, lack of saving. What is this? So yeah. Good times, man. Okay, so big question now. So, should they ever bring back Albert Wesker? Yes or no, and why?
Hell no.
Hell no. Moving on.
Hell yes.
Oh, here we go.
Why not? Why not? Get him back in there. Get them all back in there.
I think he did, honestly, not much in the series. I feel like people only like him because he was the most reoccurring villain, which I guess, and obviously Marvel vs. Capcom, but Marvel vs. Capcom aside, he didn't really, he's just there. He doesn't really do too much.
No.
I like him a lot. He's quite iconic, and I like his whole arc with Chris. Like, even if it is purely kind of very brainless action, I think it's. I'd be happy for him to come back. Why not?
Oh, I'm a huge Wesker fan. Sorry, you go, Tango. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I was just going to say I do feel the franchise has been a little bit empty since since what happened. Like there hasn't. It's going to be hard to replace him. So I would be okay with him coming back because of that. Just do themselves a favor and just bring him back. To be honest,
I think it's because he had such a presence as well and such a recognizable look. That slick back hair and the sunglasses. It was just it almost became like very household name for Resident Evil in itself. Yes. Wesker and that familiar look. And even like with the movies as well, which I know we'll be talking about in a bit, but even the movies like kind of got Wesker arguably quite well. Arguably,
I don't agree with that. But
I want to say that the problem with Resident Evil as a whole is that they don't have reoccurring villains, which is even villains who are still out to this day don't come back. Like Alex Wesker achieved her goals and still didn't do anything with her. The people from Revelation still haven't come back. Like villains are never reused and are never in other games. Only one who came back was Wesker. That's because of it just wanted a shock value in Code Veronica, which I was like, all right, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess, sure. I love Code Veronica from my heart, but I always found that a little weird. But I guess they knew they needed like a stand-up villain, and it just him being like from the shadows and doing all this stuff in general to like super. I was like, I guess, sure.
That's
Okay.
interesting. That's interesting. I've never really heard that like take before. I don't know. I always see Wesker as kind of like just that ultimate bad guy. You know, like how the Shredder is to the Ninja Turtles. It's just that kind of, that bad guy mascot, if you like. The whole series is kind of like, especially earlier, is very cartoony in the way it's presented. It's very over the top, very campy. And I don't know. I think he is a very iconic bad guy for that
Like
reason.
I can understand iconic, but I still try to think like, what has he actually done or achieved throughout all of this? And it's
He's been
just,
badass.
but that's my thing. I want achievements. He's not like a villain who has actually done much. If anything, he just has people do shit for him, and
Yeah.
it's just, I don't think he was a good villain.
He did all
I
this
felt
work in
like-
the lab in the
Like,
80s.
I always saw Wesker kind of like a joke too, because he had all this stuff going on, and he would get his ass bodied. I was like, "What are you doing?" Okay, like in Code Veronica, he got bodied twice. In RE4, he was just in the shadows. I think RE4 was the best like thing for him because he actually was a badass in the game, but that's
Yeah.
also because he was not really in the game. Funny enough. Then RE5 happens, and I was like, "Oh my god, can this dude? He could just kill Chris so many times, and he gets tacked out the window by Joe." Like, what? Okay.
He just wanted 7 minutes.
And yeah, like the whole thing, I was just like, Wesker really feels underwhelming. It kind of felt like, the thing is, I felt like they made him like kind of like a joke at one point because it didn't feel intimidating. He didn't feel like a threat. I was just like, okay, I guess we're doing this.
I'm a
this
huge
point.
Wesker guy. I'm a huge Wesker guy. But it was Code Veronica that did it for me. Like, I wasn't too fussed about him in the original games. But then I played Code Veronica on the PlayStation 2 like afterwards, and I wasn't like online or looking at magazines or anything, so I had no idea he was in the game. So I played it completely like oblivious to it, and then that scene happens where you see him. It's like that's the first time you've seen him since 1996, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
You know what? My experience is a little different because I didn't play Code Veronica X at first. I should play Code Veronica. So Wesker got messed up by Alexia. He got kicked to the wall, and Wesker didn't get like a single hit on her.
And then he ran away.
And he ran away. And I was like, Wesker's a joke. What is going on? Why do you bring him back? But then people had like the Code Veronica X. I'm like, it's a different cutscene there.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people didn't know. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, makes
okay,
a big difference.
interesting. Yeah, there is a difference.
So well, let's talk about the movies then, because we did kind of touch upon it before. So, do we like the movies? What are our thoughts on the newest movie? If we've seen it yet, there's a lot to unravel there. What are our thoughts on the movies, guys?
I don't hate the Mila Jovovich ones. I can tolerate, I can watch the first 4. I don't recall, like I think I may have seen the others, but I don't really remember them. The latest one, I didn't think much of it at all. It was pretty bad, but I watched it on New Year's Eve after a couple of drinks in the Discord with a couple of people from the community, and we had a great time. We just basically tore the film to shreds and had a bit of a rant about it, but it's fun. It's probably not as, going to be quite as, they say sometimes some films are so bad that they're great. I don't think it's quite there, but it's a lot of wasted potential. It's bittersweet, I think, because it's good to have a laugh at, but it's not what I expected from Resident Evil.
Yeah. I'll go. So I didn't mind the first movie, as in the Mila Jovovich one. I hated the second one. I hate the second one purely because I think they did the absolute dirty on Nemesis. Like he saves the day, like Tango was saying about Nemesis being this absolutely scary guy. That just it's running after you and all that stuff. I was so excited to see what they were going to do with him, and then I'm just going to start launching the rocket launcher at the bad guys. It's like, what are you doing? This is not Nemesis. So I hated the second one. Didn't mind the third one, but then I think after that it just went downhill a bit. Really, I wasn't a big fan.
I do like the first 2 movies, but I also thought the Jill Valentine actor was really pretty, and I think she did her role really well for some reason. Like I think she held it down, but I was always annoyed that Alice took the spotlight when Jill should have took some of the spotlight from some of the action scenes. I was a little disappointed, but I thought it was fun to see like that point of view. But after like Well, I don't even remember. The dirt one was the desert, right?
Yeah.
That one was a little weird to me. And it's just the movie just started declining. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done here.
Yeah.
Definitely from the. Oh, I'm so sorry. I keep
No, you
cutting
go.
over you,
No,
Johnny.
you go. No, it's your turn.
I was just going to say, I think everyone seems to unanimously agree after the fourth one. They just kind of there's something went off there. You can tolerate the first four; they're kind of like dumb fun, but like after that, like they're just not even. I found personally, they're not even enjoyable to watch.
I even
They're just like,
serious. It was like, what is this?
yeah, yeah, legit.
The CGI movies.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
I find them boring, if I'm honest. I
I agree. Agree.
They're kind of just there. I don't know. I hear a lot of great things about the CGI movies, and I'm just like, I'm always very underwhelmed when I try and watch them again, and I try and give them a chance every time, but I don't know, it's just something not quite there with them. And I felt the same
a
with
lot of
Infinite
stuff for
Darkness.
that. Like people are like, oh, but you love Leon. I was like, just because I love him, don't mean I gotta support him. All right, listen. Sometimes they have their failures, and all the CGI movies don't hit. The only one I think was decent, I would say, was the second one when the guy like could control like the liquors, and they had like that nice little scene at the end. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool, but they all kind of fell flat. And sorry, Capcom, don't get mad at me.
No, I've only seen the first two CGI ones. I thought they were okay. I actually thought the first one was pretty good, and then the second one was okay. It was the second one with the G virus return, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken, with Claire.
I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
That's the thing. I find them very very just forgettable films.
Yeah.
I always get them all mixed up as well. They kind of just blend together.
Yeah.
Although I remember one of them, Leon's wearing some sort of like tracksuit or something.
Oh my god, I'm gonna rant because I hate the third movie. I'm just gonna say it now. I hate the third movie with all my heart because apparently you could cure everyone after they're already infected and eaten their spouse or killed so many people, and they're just walking back to normal. We're like, what? What? Because it's airborne, so they just like sprinkle like glitter in the air and gas. And every zombie is like reverting back to human. You just see like someone's loved one on the floor. Like, I don't, And then they know this was the case, and Leon and Chris still killing so many zombies. Like, he just killed so many people, bro. You should have tried to keep them alive. If he knew this was gonna happen.
Oh man. Okay. So, do we all have a favorite weapon in the series? It can be from one specific game, or it can be just a general weapon that we consistently use. What are our favorite weapons?
I thought about this, and to be honest, I've never really thought about like a favorite weapon in the games. But this is going to be a very like kind of boring answer, I guess. But I've just always had fun with the TMP whenever I play RE4. I just find it quite satisfying.
It's underrated.
Yeah. So that's about it for me, really. The TMP is nice. Probably a lot of people disagree.
A lot of people, I feel, do disagree with that. A lot of people sleep on the TMP. They go, "Oh, you don't need it."
Yeah.
I'd
rather, like, if I'm playing RE5 co-op, I would choose TMP over shotgun. Like, I'd choose a machine gun, submachine gun over the shotgun, personally.
Okay. Like, the one that keeps coming to my mind is a grenade launcher that Claire uses, even though I'm a Leon B person. But it's just something about Claire's campaign. I'm just like, damn, that's really convenient. Yeah, that's super convenient. Like using acid rounds, fire rounds, all that stuff in general. I wish Leon had that, but I was like, I understand. Sure, whatever. Cool. I get it. I love Claire. I wish we could have shared this, please. It's just super convenient. Like, not even just in RE2, but also like in RE3, like having freeze rounds and like just
the freeze rounds.
Yeah, freeze rounds are clutch.
They're very satisfying.
I never used them.
Grenade launcher.
I never used.
So powerful.
I used them purely. This year I did some speedrunning with some friends, and I never realized how OP they were. I slept on them for 20 years.
It was the same. I was the same until I was streaming it, and everyone was saying to me, "Why do you keep making Magnum ammo? Why don't you make some freeze ammo?" And that's what I've done all my life, was make Magnum ammo.
Yeah,
and then I saw the light.
What about you, Tango? Have you got any favorites?
A grenade launcher is a really good shout, actually. I'd put one in for that as well. But also, I really found, I think it's probably just usually when you get the shotgun, it comes in so much in clutch. Like, usually, like, I'm thinking of the OG ones, you're always like struggling on with the handgun, then you get the shotgun, and it's like zombies are nothing anymore, so it's like, I think it's always the shotgun just comes in clutch, and I always found the animation so satisfying for them, especially when you get the head pop in the OG games. It's just like nothing beats it. Beats it. In the newer games as well, I remember Resident Evil 5, I thought the shotgun had just so much impact with it. Just felt powerful,
It's always that first good gun you find in the game, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
kind of things, okay, I can take stuff on now.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm a Magnum guy for the chocolate ice cream, and also for the Magnum. I love it. I love the enhanced Magnum in Resi 2. Just the recoil off it. It's just there's something satisfying about it for me. I love it so much.
When you get the recoil on original RE2 and it literally flies Leon back into the previous fixed camera angle.
Oh yeah,
I love that. It just shows you how powerful it is. It's always been my favorite weapon, like, ever.
I always wondered what it would be like if you could, the segments where you play as Sherry, and if you could somehow give Sherry the Magnum, I always thought the recoil on that, she would probably just fly off the edge of the screen.
My god!
Someone needs to mod this now, actually.
Yeah.
I always found it interesting because when you play as Chris and he uses a shotgun, he doesn't fly back at all. He stands still. Because in the battle mode, he'd be like, all right, I got this. And Leon just, spaghetti arms.
He's got small arms.
He's a first aid boy.
Chris is the same dude who punches boulders. I mean, his
Can't
prowess
compete.
is unmatched. So.
He knew since 1998. It's just the DualShock version. That's insane. You know what? Side contender, I wanted to put in the bowgun arrow with the fire in Code Veronica. Those came in so much in clutch.
Yes.
Good choice.
Oh my god. Now that I think about it, I'm like, that.
They're satisfying. They are really satisfying.
Yeah, I agree.
Playing with the pops. Yeah, that one's also really good. And Chicago Typewriter. But that's just guilty pleasure.
Nice.
Yeah.
I suppose, speaking of CVX as well, or CV, the BOW rounds as well, they're just like invaluable.
Yeah. Why is it only 3 in the whole game? I always wanted to find that out. Only 3.
I don't know if you guys follow Ink Ribbon on YouTube. He's done a video on that recently. And it's fascinating, like, because he hacked into it to get as many as he could, and then he's tested it on all the enemies and see what they did, and it did some really interesting stuff, actually. But you got to use it on Tyrant, haven't you?
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Unless you're doing my phone.
Yes. So, what are our expectations for Resident Evil 9? Where do we think the series is going?
See, my expectations and my hopes are probably very different. Expectations is probably going to be something along the lines of what we got in Village. It's going to be a continuation of the Ethan Rose story arc, which about 2 people enjoy. And then, but what I would love, and in terms of expectation, it could be something maybe Capcom might deliver, but I'm thinking a lot of these games, a lot of movies lately are sort of capitalizing on bringing back older characters. I watched the new Scream recently, and they described it really well around the difference between like a remake and a reboot, and then you got a requel, which is kind of where you make a sequel but you bring back like the original dynamic of the original cast. I would love to see an RE9 bring them all back, bring Jill, Claire, Leon, Chris, Ada, have them all there. And then have a massive battle go on, have them all sitting there at the end after they defeated the final boss, and then the credits roll, and then have a mid-credit cutscene, and just have Regina turn up through a portal or something. Just have Regina turn up. Just make it a multiverse now. This is what every thing is doing, and just say we've got a problem, and then it fades to black, and you just hear a dinosaur roar. That would be it.
That's pretty funny.
Wow. Can't top that, can we?
That's perfect. I want that now.
Capcom, are you listening? For me, Capcom.
Yeah, well, isn't there rumours that Ada was supposed to be in RE8, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So I do wonder if she's going to be in RE9 in some capacity. Or, like you said, how many other characters from previous are going to be in it? Because the only character so far that isn't Ethan's story is really Chris, isn't it? Yeah. So I wonder if they're going to add more characters to of old into this new storyline. It's interesting.
I think if there's any character that deserves to come back by now, it's Jill. I'm sorry, Jill has been like thrown to the side since Resident Evil 5, and I'm kind of sick of Chris now. He's been in 6. He was in 7, but looked really weird. He was in 8. Like, it's just like, man, we get it. Like, Chris has been at the center since 5, basically, and it's like Jill is the other OG. You know, like, what are they doing? They're sleeping on her at this stage. It's like, come on, bring her girl back. Yeah, I'd love to see her return. If she returned, I would lose my shit, honestly.
Yeah, same.
Agreed.
Especially with the model that they got, the actress that they got for RE3 Remake as well.
Exactly.
I thought they did a great job.
She looks wonderful in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
I want to say, from like my point of view, for RE9, I really hope they focus on the whole BSA situation.
Yeah.
If they ever do consistency, because that's also a perfect time to bring back Jill, which is one thing I really want, and see what's going on. Like, why is the BSA corrupted? And maybe they're working with, I don't know, something in general. I don't know anything like that. But I do want to see old characters come back. But at the same time, I'm also against it. It's really hard because I don't want them to come back if they're not fleshed out. I don't want them just to be there just to like show face. But give them a proper conclusion. If that's the case, because if you just throw them in, I'm just like, don't do that, please. Don't do this to us. They're already like about to be 50s, 55s in their age. I'm like, y'all need to chill. Your ankles are breaking, bro.
Oh no, I agree for sure. So do we have any favorite monsters or monster designs? Anything comes to mind really in terms of like just iconic? I mean, I'm sure Tango maybe might mention Nemesis here because what are your thoughts on Nemesis Remake actually? Did you think they got that look right?
I haven't actually played the remake yet. It's just been sitting on my shelf collecting dust so far, from what I've heard about it. But purely from his design, it took a while to get used to, but I don't think it's bad. It's just, fresh lick of paint kind of thing. But I do prefer the original. I think his face is more creepy looking, or his design. He's got like these weird like vein things coming out of him.
Yeah. And
I it's probably nostalgia speaking, to be honest, but I do prefer the original, but the new one's not bad, it's just there.
I don't like the way he says stars in the remake. I don't know what it is. Like the stars is so clear, isn't it? Where she's like stars. He's like saying it with his teeth closed. Stars.
Those are some big ass teeth, mind.
To be fair, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, weird ass nose, crooked. Just it's funny to me. Do you have a favorite, Snooki?
I'd say for me it's probably the liquor, because that's the one that comes to mind that really had an impact on me. That actually sort of resonated with me for a long time. That first encounter with the liquor, like I described earlier, that's the first time I've experienced pure like terror playing a game, and I think just the sound of the creature as well, just that kind of like really creepy breathing like noise. It was very much I don't know, it's nightmarish, very nightmarish creature design, sound design, very well done.
I fully agree with pretty much what you're saying. I'll give like a honorable mention to the Regenerators or Iron Maiden.
Oh god,
for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
That's also another which comes to mind. I wish they used them a lot more, but I get it. They were pretty strong if you didn't know what you were doing.
Oh man. Oh, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think the Regenerators are worse than the Iron Maidens. Because the Iron Maidens did just all the spikes and stuff, isn't it? So I actually would rather deal with that than them. The Regenerators just munch on you, and just they won't let it go. And I just think that's so much more terrifying. And they jump up at you and stuff. Whereas in the Iron Maidens rely on the spikes. So I just think that's so much more terrifying.
I love them. They were phenomenal, I feel.
I'm dreading it in the remake of Resi 4 for sure.
I hope they bring it.
Yeah.
And bring them back.
And another, I'm so sorry. This is the
third
time.
Go.
I think there must be delay or something, because I'm so sorry. No, please go ahead.
Okay, well, I'll go. I mean, my favorite monster design is William Birkin. Always has been. Nice. Like I love the design, the evolution that he goes through. I think it was just amazing, and my favorite is the G3 one with the 4 arms. I just think it's such a cool design, and I love the final one as well, in terms of the fact that he's just gone way too too far. You know, I think it's such a fantastic homage. You know, to the old. You know, how far can you go with you know. How gruesome? How far will you go with your power? Really, you know, it's a magical monster. I think. Yeah. What about you, Tango?
And another one I was just gonna another one I was gonna throw into the mix because like I am a very vocal Code Veronica fan. It is above and beyond my favorite one. So I'm gonna throw a Nosferatu into the mix.
Oh, you're going to say Bandersnatch then?
No, not nearly as cool. Not nearly as cool.
No,
Like I just think the way you find him, even like you go
Yes.
into this little like cubby hole of a room, you hear this creepy screaming, agonizing scream kind of
Yeah.
things, and then I just think, oh, the way he was introduced, and then his relevance to the story being part of the Asher family, I was just like, that was a cool idea.
Yeah.
I think Code Veronica is full of those cool ideas, but that's up
Mhm.
there for me personally.
100% agree with that for sure. And I feel like he should have done more with that character. And again, we're going to talk about potential Code Veronica remakes. I really hope they do more if they ever do that, because I feel like Alexander Ashford is such an untapped character. Yeah.
I love Veronica.
It's so good, isn't it? So I want them to remake it.
Criminally underrated game.
People frown on it a lot.
So speaking of remakes, though, should they remake Resi 1 again? What are our thoughts on that idea? Because it's
I'd play
20
it.
years old. It's 20 years old now, isn't it, the remake? Crazy as it sounds.
Yeah, remake it, but don't charge people like £50 or $60, however much they are for it, like they did with RE3 remake. Yeah, I'd play it. They could remake RE1 a million times. I'd probably play it every time. But I'd love to see it how in the engine that is currently being used. Personally,
Agree. I'm gonna always play like whatever remakes are coming out, but it's such a high standard to defeat for that remake because RE1 remake just remade everything and added more to it.
yeah, it did.
And if you remake the game and you cut important aspects out, I will be fully disappointed.
I think that's my main worry for 4. My huge worry for 4 is they're going to cut stuff out of that, and I think they got away with it somewhat with 3. I mean, they didn't get away with it, but I think that
They didn't get away.
they will not be able to do what they did with 4 if they did it with 3 for 4 with what they did with 3 for sure.
If they're smart, they could cut out some stuff from RE4 that potentially felt a bit padded, like the island, in my opinion. They could probably trim down that a little bit. There's quite a bit of fat in that bit.
Yeah, no, I think that's the bit that's probably they might get away with the most, I suppose, wouldn't it? Whereas in the village and the castle, yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for sure, they'll struggle there. Yeah, what about you, Tango? What are your thoughts on Resi 1 remake, Resi 4?
It's kind of like I wouldn't be opposed to it, to be honest, because like as I love remake with all my heart, even though I do prefer the original personally, just for nostalgia again. But now when you look at it like objectively, even remake is kind of dated, just because games aren't like that anymore. Fixed angles, that kind of combat, it is outdated in that respect as well. So seeing the mention, like I love the mention, I just love that entire setting. So seeing that remade would be a dream come true. I'm behind it, to be honest. If it's on the quality of 2 remake and less so 3 remake, then yeah.
You know what I would
100%.
have loved to have seen is Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake, but like Resident Evil 1 remake. So kind of just
Yeah.
the fixed camera
Fixed
angles,
camera angles.
but the graphics of RE1 remake and RE0. I think that would have been incredible. And it was almost bittersweet because we caught a little glimpse in RE0 of what RE2 remake in
been.
that engine
Yeah.
could have been.
Yeah, yeah.
I do want to say, as much as I love RE2 Remake, I think it's one of my favorite games. It gets less, backlash because it has a lot of stuff cut out, but people don't really seem to acknowledge like how much was cut out in RE2 Remake. Like a whole B scenario is cut out.
Yeah,
and a lot of spots are cut out.
Yeah, the B campaign did annoy me. One thing I liked that they did in the remake of 2 though was the sewers. The sewers. I thought they actually expanded the sewer system a bit, personally, and adding the G boss and making him a regular enemy. I thought was actually a stroke of genius.
Yeah.
But man, the lack of B scenario and inconsistency in RE2 Remake. The story is not consistent at all. But
It was a
RE2
shame.
just Yeah, it's just worse in that aspect. But at least it has like one storyline. But at the same time, I kind of wanted alternate paths and a different ending. But whatever, we're not gonna get into that right now.
Do we have any favorite boss battles? Is there any boss battles that come to mind that just resonate with us better than others?
The first that comes to mind is RE2, scenario B. Birkin coming down from the train and he has like his arms out, like coming at you, and it's like, oh, I thought that was so sick.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh shit, what is this? I love how it was like different stuff. Like in RE2, there's different boss fights and different scenes. It's not consistent. I mean, it's like, oh whoa, I did not expect this here. I thought it was gonna just be the Pike dude again. It's like, no, he's bigger.
Yeah.
I think Acid Nemi is probably up there for me because it's a boss fight that you can take in like two different approaches to. You can either just take the good old guns blazing route, or you can be a bit more tactical with the acid. I thought that's quite a cool touch, and it was only sort of kind of recently that I started using the acid strat a bit more, whereas I'd normally just unload the remainder of my ammo into him. So I quite like that. I think it's got quite a bit of depth to that fight. In original, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if this counts as a boss fight. It's more like a segment. I mean, it's a boss fight if you want it to be, but when it comes to boss characters anyway, I really liked Verdugo in 4, like the invisible enemy dude that you come across in the sewers. Just I think that whole segment is done so well. The way like you get those first person CG cutscenes in between where he's coming after you. I just thought that whole segment was very like haunting compared to the generally 4, which is very action heavy, and how he's effectively undefeatable unless you use the rocket launcher. He was just very intimidating. I thought that was a very cool segment. Boss.
Your right hand
segment.
comes off.
There it is. The line.
Man. Another honorable. I like the first Tyrant fight a lot. I don't know. It's just like kind of seeing him jump out the platform. You're like, the helicopter's here. Leave me alone.
I didn't see that final Nemesis fight final Tyrant fight for ages. I didn't know about the good ending for years. So I always thought that you went against him in the lab with Wesker. And then when I found out, I was like, "What? You go against him again?" And he's harder. But by that time, I played 2, so he was very similar to 2's Tyrant final battle, isn't he? So yeah. For me, a fight I love having is Krauser. I love Krauser.
That's a good one.
As in just the general to and froing. I love Krauser's whole story arc, to be honest with you. So I love the knife fight. I love the fight you have with him when you're trying to get to the parts of the statue. And then I actually love his evolution with the arm as well. And that fight, even that can be so easily done with the knife. I just think he looks cool, and I love the to and fro with Leon. I think it's a really cool little fight because how many fights do you have? Well, apart from maybe with Wesker and Resi 5, that you talk to the enemy in. It was such a unique thing, I thought. Yeah.
I mean, Nemesis says stars, but that's probably not much of a conversation.
You want stars?
Top tier banter.
So we're all streamers. Do we have any favourite stream memories playing Resident Evil games?
Ooh. Yeah, think about this one. I have a lot of memories, but I don't know which ones to pick.
I got a lot of memories. This always highlights from every Resident Evil stream, to be honest. Like even like from recently, it became a little bit of a meme on my channel when I was doing Resident Evil 3 OG with the disco Jill. So having the disco outfit, and we just find some really horrendous, terrible, non-copyright disco music on YouTube and play that in the background, and
That's
it's
funny.
hilarious. It's just so hilarious, and it kind of made the stream when I found that. Well, when the community found that for the first time, it's so funny, really funny. It's just like a regular thing now.
That's amazing. One of my favourite streaming memories was a few years back. Actually, I started streaming about 5 years ago. So about 2-3 years ago, I played Director's Cut of Resi 1 for the first time, and all the items were in different locations and stuff like that. And I thought that would be it. I didn't think there was much in terms of like plot that was different. But there's one scene when you go into the back of the mansion and you go up the elevator, there's another room that you have to go into, and then the crows came out of the window and killed me, because they don't, there's nothing happens in that room in the original game, and then the crows came out and pecked me to death. I died. I was like, what the hell? Like, played Resident Evil all my life, never died on that part of the game, and I had to restart it because I'd never saw that happen before. So that's a stream memory for me.
Oh wow. I think, the randomizers are always a good shout. Like, if anyone hasn't played the 1996 Resi 1 randomizer, do yourself a favor and play it.
It is great.
A legendary stream for me personally. But another one, more specific one, was one of my first games I streamed was Resi 4. And I got to the Salazar fight. And I used to have a redeem on my channel for put down the controller for 1 minute. Oh god, something dropped. Whoopsies. Went flying. Yeah, I had that redeem, and I also didn't have a cooldown on it, which was a fatal error.
Oh, no.
Because chat just kept spamming it, and it was just like I was stuck on that fight for 2 hours. I didn't even care. Just chat were like popping off. They thought it was the funniest shit, seeing dying over and over, and the entire stream ended up just being that one fight. And it was just God. I've never laughed so hard at something. That was a great memory.
I don't even know what to pick. So I get a lot of glitches in games in general. So for example, when I beat RE3, I'm not gonna you know how RE3 ends, but my Jill model was completely corrupted, and her body was flipped, but it was like the ending cutscene. She's like doing her speech and talking and doing all that stuff and having the gun out, and the gun is just levitating by itself, and Jill's nowhere to be found because she's like broken in the corner. And this happened in RE2 also. Like my Leon model was just like oriented, like his neck snapped around. I'm like, what is going on? What was with this RE engine? Oh my, it just made me smile each time when it comes to those.
Sorry,
yeah. No,
you just reminded me of the RE2 and I guess the other randomizers, where you have the NPC randomizers, and you get like Marvin, and I think his only or whatever it is in the cutscenes, his animation or something, he's constantly falling down. So you'll have a character, you'll have an interaction with him, and he's constantly falling down. And it's the same with Ben. Ben is he's really tall. He's actually ridiculously tall, like next to all the characters. But yeah, hilarious. That just reminded me of it then.
Oh god, good times.
Yeah, I have too many glitches in those games, and I don't know why this always happens to me. And I don't know, I would say those are like my favorite memories in general from any game. It's like, why is a zombie on the ceiling? What's going on? This is not part of the game. It's like, it's not even modded. It's just the game will just bug out. And I'm like, why does this always happen to me? I don't get it. Oh no. But it always makes me smile.
Oh man. All right, so can we all just summarize as much as we can why we all love Resident Evil series so much, just to wrap things up here, guys? Do you want to go? Is that how you go first, Snooky?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just always been a part of my life. I can't really pinpoint something that makes me love the series so much. I don't know. I'm a massive fan of the OGs. So I love the fixed camera angles. I love how, to this day, I love the tank controls. I think they go really well with the fixed camera angles. I like the whole item management of it. It's like, even though it's a lot of action, there's a lot of kind of puzzle solving on the go as well. You're kind of always thinking about your item management, what you need to take with you, what you can leave behind, and especially the levels of challenge you can get in terms of okay, knife only, or don't open an item box or something like that. So it's always got a lot of layers, a lot of replayability for me, and it's just always fun revisiting.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What about you, Tango?
Yeah, it's a similar sense. Like, I've liked it for so long, I can't even pinpoint what precisely it is. It's so special about it, but it's just, I think anyway, in terms of like, it kind of like, it sparked my interest in horror in general, for sure, or at least was a very strong factor in it personally. And like, as a result, then got me into streaming, and then maybe influenced me to want to pursue like specifically being a horror streamer as opposed to any other kind of streaming. So I feel like definitely attribute it to that. But just as a game as well, I think it's one of the few games where it's got such a ridiculously bombastic story and a laughable story in a lot of senses. But God, I get so invested in it. so invested in the characters who all kind of have paper thin personalities, really, for the most part. And I just think like it's got something special, and I think that's a big part of it. Yeah, for sure.
100%, 100%. And Tiffany, can you summarize?
I think mine is a little different. I feel like it's important to me because of my dad, I want to say, and my brother. So, God forbid, I'm not trying to talk about this, but one day he's gonna pass away. I'm gonna like play RE2 in like his honor because that's actually his favorite game of all time, also, and that's gonna make me a little emotional. Oh God, but I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much like I love Resident Evil as a campy horror and zombies and survival, all that stuff. But from more of a personal take, I think it's the reason I became like a gamer and a reason why me and my dad actually became close. So I always hold that to my heart. And oh God, I was gonna start crying. I was like, I don't want to think about my dad dying. It's like
yeah, understandable. Oh, that's beautiful, guys. That's beautiful. There we go. That's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much. That was so much fun. Just one more time, do you guys want to give yourselves a plug and tell us where we can find you on your socials? Do you want to start, Snooky, again? Sorry.
So I'm Snooky Shogun. I stream a lot of survival horror, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Dead Space. Very passionate about horror in general. And I'm also from Wales, like good old Johnny boy.
And Tango.
I'm Tango Mushi. I go by that on basically everything. Very passionate about horror and indie horror in particular. And always good fun, hopefully, my streams, if anyone pops by.
100%. And finally, then, Tiffany, one more time.
I was like making sure I follow everyone right now. Like you guys were saying this. My name is Tiffany Locker. You can find me on twitch.tv/Tiffany Locker. I'm a video editor. I'm not really the best with like introducing myself, but I just do a lot of Resident Evil. I've been dabbling into like Bloodborne and like the Souls game generally, or do like some fun little Devil May Cry thing or Final Fantasy, but overall you'll always see me do like Resident Evil and just talking to chat because that's a game I always play in the background all the time.
Excellent. Brilliant. Awesome. Thank you all. You're all wonderful. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. And a fantastic tribute to Resident Evil. That's it then. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Take care. Bye.